Okay, chapter 14 and 15. Russian's army is in retreat. Kutuzov has heard that Napoleon's quickly advancing up the road, and he's going up a road, meeting the bulk of the Russian army, which is not part of Kutuzov's command. Kutuzov is retreating on a different road, and he's separated from the sort of backups coming. And it's a dire situation, and this is where he sends Bagration basically to act as a speed bump to Napoleon's army, or they're just going to get destroyed. And it's an impossible situation. It's a suicide thing, but he sends Bagration across the countryside to intersect this other road and hopefully slow Napoleon, although any hopes of any number of these soldiers making it through uninjured is near impossible. And so Tolstoy has this sentence, this phrase, he says, "A freak of fate made the impossible possible." And I just really like how he weaves this sentiment into the story, how all reasonable assumptions only lead to one outcome, or just the slim chance of which you can't even explain how it could turn out good for them. But a freak of fate made the impossible possible. And so Bagration makes it to this road, and the French commander meeting him there thinks it's the whole Russian army. And so he sets up, he wants to play this game. Let's delay, let's call a truce. And he's just hoping the bulk of the French army just a day or two away will come and they'll totally crush the Russians. But this is just the one thing that actually the Russians needed. It's the one thing kind of saving the Russian army. This kind of great idea of this French commander. I just love how these sort of circumstances weave in and out of the story. And it happens that Andrei just has persisted in his request for Kutuzov to let him go to be as part of this doomed group, this rearguard group with Bagration. And, it just really speaks something to Kutuzov again. Not only, again, underlining, doing something, sending Bagration and all these soldiers, more than half of which will be killed or captured, and then allowing Prince Andrei to go, someone he's very fond of, into this very dangerous situation. And he relents, and he lets him go. And there's something I like something about that, even in the face of such danger. And so Prince Andrei goes there, he meets Bagration. He wants to review the troops himself, just in case there's any, when the battle comes, he'll know where things are. And here's the second interesting thing about these two chapters. The closer Prince Andrei comes to the front, the more organized and confident and jovial the soldiers become. It's almost like just a direct consequence. There's something about the heightened intensity of this situation. Again, this is just before the battle. I'm not talking when the battle begins or after the battle and soldiers' replies, but it's just coming up to the very precipice of this danger, and it sharpens the mind. And the soldiers are organized. They're kind of in a good mood. Remember Rostov's group when they were just languishing and not having much to do, just getting into trouble and arguing amongst themselves. But here, right at the battle, there's something that sharpens the minds of the men. And he finds the front, and they're so close, like in the middle of the front. The French and the Russian soldiers are so close, right at that apex point, they can literally communicate with one another, maybe by talking very loudly or shouting. I imagine they're like 100 meters or 50 meters away or something. And they're just trash talking each other in this it's almost like, some sports game, and not really in anger or spite, but in the very kind of jovial way. And these are the men right at the cutting edge. The Russians, the soldiers in Bagration's group, they sort of don't know themselves what's coming for them. I mean, if there's an army coming 8 times larger than them, they will get crushed. But the mood is light, and I want to read this last section. And so they're trash talking each other and kind of making fun of each other's language and this, that, and the other thing. And the one side, the Russians, they just broke out into laughter. The soldiers burst into a roar of such hearty, jovial laughter that the French could not help joining in. After which, it would seem, there was nothing left for them to do but to unload their guns, explode the ammunition, and all return to their homes as quickly as possible. But the guns remained loaded. The loopholes in the houses and fortifications looked out as menacingly as ever, and the unlimbered cannons confronted one another as before. I just really like those 2 little paragraphs there. The laughter that's here, we're laughing full on with our enemy just right there. And there's something clear, here's an emotion as well that just pierces through all reason. And just the clarity that brings is kind of like, what the hell are we doing here? This makes no sense. Okay, let's pack up and go home. But of course, these men, they have this clarity, but they're like a molecule of water on this wave, of which they're just being carried along. And anyway, I really like that couple insights in these couple chapters.